Hello and welcome to this next tutorial in the series of Unreal Engine 4 101. In this video we're going to look at materials and how to create kind of like a master material that you can use over and over again within your projects. So let me just transition now. So in the last video we looked at UCX, we looked at light maps, we looked at LODs, I think. Yeah, we did. We looked at LODs. So you can check that video out. I'll put a link at the end of this video to that video. But yeah, go check it out. It's just helping you kind of understand the import system. But one thing we forgot to do was show you how to import texture. So the first thing we're going to do in this video is just to show you how to import a texture. So if I go to my Unreal 4 demo, so if you're a patron, and I've made changes this week because I realized if you paid $5, we actually said that you would get access to the source files, but that wasn't ticked in the options. So I do apologize. I'm very new at Patreon, and Tommy is very busy at the moment. So I'm trying to take as much work off him with the admin stuff as possible. So yeah, I do apologize about that, but you should, if you're a $5 patron now, you should be able to have access to it. We're also looking at removing the $20 patron. We're in discussions at the moment with me and Tommy just to see whether it's worth value for money. But yeah, if you're a $5 patron, you should be able to have access to this source code on his projects, on my projects, on any projects that come through Table Clips tutorials. But anyway, so if you are using this, I've set up, well, if you right click, you can create a new folder anyway. So I'm just going to go to the textures. Now there's two ways. So I could select the textures and drag them in. Or if I right click here and go import, and let's find this, textures, open. And there we go. That's fine, that's fine. So we've got all three textures now inside of a folder that I know. Now, in this folder, I will probably create a new folder for this camera because you're going to have a lot of textures in here. So it's just easier to organize. And you can just select them, drag them with the left mouse button, and go move here. Now, sorry, I've got hay fever this morning. It's really annoying me. So you could actually just copy them as well. So if you right click on copy here, it'll copy a folder to them, but the problem is then we've still got them here, so that's not quite what we wanted to do. Now we've got three textures that we're going to set up for this. We've got an albedo. So an albedo is pure color. There's no lighting information in an albedo, whereas a diffuse there is. So you won't have like AO built into an albedo, and you won't have lighting information. But that's pure color. So if we have a quick look, you can see the color is on there. There's no lighting information on there. There's dirt and damage passes, but there's no lighting information. And then we also have a normal map. And I do apologize about the cars going by. It's really hot, so I need to keep the windows open. But my God, it's a Sunday morning when I'm recording this, and it's so busy outside. Anyway, so this is the normal map. Now there's a few things I need to do just to thingy. So the first thing is, sometimes if the normal map doesn't look right, you need to flip the green channel. Okay, so that's fine. And then we've also got something called a PSM, which you can export outside of Substance Painter. And what this map is it's called a packed specular map. And within this map, there are three textures. So I'm thinking, hang on. So in the red channel is the roughness map. Now in Substance Painter, you can actually say, I want to specify the red channel as roughness, the green channel is metal, and the blue channel is AO. Or you could do it the other way around if you wanted like metal and red, green and roughness. It's entirely up to you. It depends on the workflow you're working on as well. It could be you're working in a different workflow. So that's kind of how you have to kind of work to the engine. So metal, AO, and nothing in the alpha. The alpha could be used for emissive. So if you've got something glowing on the object, say a light, you could have the emissive in the alpha channel. Now, the reason why we do this, and this is why it comes out this nice funky colour, the reason why we do this is that instead of draw calling 3 textures, you draw calling 1 texture for 3 textures. And we're going to split this up inside the material editor to allow you to do that. Now, the only thing I would say with the PSM is this. It needs to be set to mask no sRGB. Now, the reason for that is that the import from Substance to Unreal, the gamma, is it the gamma? I can't remember now, but the sRGB space is out. So you need to make sure that's unticked, or else you're going to have errors. Not errors, it won't show you errors, but it won't look as good as it does in Substance Painter. So you need to make sure that you untick this because it sorts out the gamma. Seth explained it the other day to me really well. I can't remember how he explained it to me, but yeah, make sure that's ticked. Okay, so that's all the textures in. So we've got that. So now we're going to create a material. Now, if I go to my materials, I've already done this. I'm just going to delete this. So I'll just select it and then press delete button. Now, if you right click, go to material, and I'm going to call it master prop. And I'm going to double click on it. Now you'll see, you think, oh no, this is kind of like quite confusing, and it is to begin with. You're more likely going to be doing very simple, how can I describe it? Very simple actions. So you're not going to use a lot of this stuff. Now, when you start to get into more technical material creation, like creating parallax occlusion maps, mapping and pond for short, and creating like water and glass details, then you're going to start to use some of this stuff. And if you start to make your own materials as well, like master materials, I've done in the past, I've used like kind of like on and off switches so that the user can actually turn off like grunge or dirt and that sort of stuff on the material. So once you get into it, you can create some really cool stuff. And it's very, very similar to Substance Designer. But this is where it's setting up. Now in Unity, you already have your material set up. You just select it because you would have to script it if you wanted a custom shader. Whereas this, it's very artist friendly. I find it really easy to use and really to navigate and that sort of stuff. So firstly, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the textures and we just drag them in like this. Okay. And we're going to untick them because obviously I don't want to drag all of them everywhere. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to connect the texture sample to the base color. That's it. So all I did was left click, drag out, and that selects it. Now, I'm just going to explain before I go any further, like what the options are. So this is all the different nodes that you can put in. So if you say you want to put that in, you can do. Okay, so you just drag it basically. There are hotkeys, and I am going to use some hotkeys anyway. The next thing is we can view this on different shapes. Now, one of the cool things with this is if I go to my camera and click the little teapot, if anybody in the comments can tell me why they've got an image of a teapot, brownie points. But anyway, so like you can actually see it, your mesh inside the 3D viewer. So that's pretty cool. And then we've also got an options tab here, which gives you specific options if, say, you click on a certain thing, if you click outside the space. Up here is your save and apply. So if you apply, it's going to save the material. I also save sometimes as well, just to yeah. And you can see here you've got UVs. So you can actually tile UVs. So you could actually put the texture parameter inside of there and parameterize it. You've also got RGB and alpha. So you can actually separate out each of these slots. Probably going to brick it because there's nothing there. It's not going to work because there's nothing in the R slot. But anyway, yeah. Or you can drag it out as one whole, like I did here. Now, say you wanted to get rid of this, you can by just pressing Alt left click, and that will get rid of that connection. You can also drag out and say, you can drag out and create a new thingy from search, or you right click and say, I think that will, there you go. So I can turn that off just by using like a constant and a multiply. There you go. Pretty handy sometimes. Maybe not for this situation, but anyway, so yeah, so if you right click, you can bring up the option tab, but there's also hotkeys. So what I did then for a constant, which is an on and off state, which is 0 and 1, black and white, you kind of have grey in between as well, so it can be like a 0.5. I just press 1, left click, hold 1, sorry, left click, and that will bring that up. A 2 vector is 2, left click, which is 2, RG. 3, which is RGB. Now with an RGB, this is the color picker. So I can do this. Don't know why you'd want to multiply it with a red color, but hey ho, there we go. Let it go, there you go. But it's now got a red tint to it, which would actually be alright for making weapon skins. So you can have a pattern is the texture sample, and then multiply it by different colors. So like, say if it's like stripes, you could then multiply it by different colors and start to like blend it all together basically. Anyway, so that's that. The next thing I wanted to show you, and a 4 vector is RGB with alpha space. So use it for alpha. The next one I'm going to use a lot is add. So there's add, multiply, subtract, and divide. And they're the ones that I'm going to use the most in this sector. But I'll show you that when I actually build the control for the roughness. Other than that, I'm navigating with the right mouse button to navigate around the screen. And I'm zooming in and out with the mouse button. So that's it. So it's the middle mouse button to scroll up and down, and the right mouse button to pan around. Now, I find a lot of students always cram like into little sections here, so it's like there, it's all on top. Just spread out. And never work this side either. Always work this side. Okay? It's supposed to flow. Next thing. So the next thing is just plugging in the normal map, and that's pretty straightforward. Just going to plug that in. I don't actually use the palette. I'm actually going to get rid of it because I don't use it. So it's like Unreal. You can at the main UI, you can dock and undock stuff. If you lose stuff, it's here, or you can reset the layout, and you can save the layout as well. But anyway, so there's my normal map applied. So the next thing to do is the metal. So the metal is in the green channel. So I'm going to drag the green channel to the metallic here. Okay. And then with the blue channel, which is AO, I'm going to drag it into the ambient occlusion. Okay. Now there's not much left to do really, other than create the roughness control, and that's going to require a little bit of thinking. Now I'll put a link in the description, but Unreal has a breakdown of how you kind of can create a roughness control, but this is the one I've used all the time. So I'm going to create 3 constants. One constant. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put -1, 1, and then 0.5 just as a standard. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a lerp. So I'm going to hold L and left click. That's going to create a linear interpretation node. And what this is going to do is it's going to take value A and value B and blend it between this value here. Next, I'm going to add a multiply. I think it's a multiply. And I'm going to add the red channel in the top and the lerp in B channel. So it's going to take these two values and multiply, remember rightly. And then I'm just going to clamp it as well. So I'm going to clamp it between a value of 0 and 1 because roughness shouldn't be any higher than 1. And then I'm going to plug this inside the roughness. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press select, so left click drag, and that will select it. And then I'm going to press C. And this is going to give a comment. So this is PSM. For this, you wouldn't necessarily need to do comments. But if your material starts to get a lot more crazier and harder to manage, then this is probably a good thing to have good practice in, is starting to actually comment your materials. By doing this as well, by doing our next step, which is going to turn this into a master material, you can give this material to, like, if you're working with a big team, you can give this material to that team, and then they don't have to keep making materials every time they want to add new textures to a new prop. So the next stage is we're going to turn that into a master material so that you can give this out to other people working on the project, and all they do is just drag and drop new texture files into the slots. And then, say for example, they're like, oh, can we have POM, for example, in this? You can then go away and create the POM section of this, plug it all in, save it, and it'll update on every material. So then every material that you've got in the scene will then have this new functionality in it. So it's the best way to work. Don't create materials ever. I see this all the time at level 4, which is first year of university, where hundreds of materials, and it's like, no, you just need one master material and then you can instance file. So you might have 100 materials, but you haven't got 100, you haven't had to make this 100 times, basically. Listen, this is master material. This is going to be. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to turn this into a master. So if I right click on this texture sample and convert to parameter, what this has done is exposed the parameter of this material, this texture, this texture within the material. And what that's going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to change it dependent if we make a material instance or not. I'm just going to call this albedo. I'm going to put this in a new group and call this texture samples, and it's the only time it's going to let you do a space. There you go. So again, right click on the PSM, convert to parameter, and we're going to call this PSM. So you need to make sure you double click, as it won't work. And I'm going to select texture samples from the drop down menu. And I'm going to do the same with normal as well. So right click, convert to parameter, and let's call this normal map. Again, I'm going to put this under texture samples. So if I click apply now, so save it. So the next thing we need to do is this. We need this. So we're going to convert this to a parameter. So I'm going to call this I think I spelled that right. Please, if I didn't, I'm sorry. Right, so that's fine. And I'm just going to pull this in. Yeah, that's it. I don't want to give it a group, really, to be fair. It's going to come under a group anyway, so click apply. So that's it, really, for making a very simple material. And you can see that the roughness is probably a bit too much there. But anyway, so next thing I need to do is, I go to here, go to your material and go right click, create material instance. And I'm going to say camera. You'll notice that it's completely different to the shader editor that we've just been in. And that's because this is an instance of that shader. So you can see where we've put the texture samples, they're all here now. So if I wanted to, I could change these in and out, which I might do in a minute just to show it. And then we can also change the roughness control. So I did say this is thingy, so 0.65. It's probably a better. What is something new? Yep, I know why. Okay, so do you know when I said I think it's a multiplier? It's not. It is. It's an add. Okay, dogs are barking. Okay, so let's try that again, shall we? There you go. So if I put this back to 0.5, you'll notice that, yes, we are getting the metal, but it's not as extreme because we're not multiplying it. So that's my bad. It is an add instead of a multiplier. Let me just try and get this up on the screen. UE4 Tech. Like I said, I'll put a link to the description of this. I'll put this link in. One dog, please. Let's see if this is the one. There you go. Yeah, I got that wrong. I do apologise, but I'll put a link to this in the description, like I said, so that you know. But it is an add, not a multiplier. That's why I was getting some issues there. And if you're following along, that's why you're getting issues as well. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is, I just want to show you how this works. So if you want to change this, you need to tick these buttons. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just actually going to get another set of textures, maybe for the desk. So let me just find this. Cenotaph, images. Okay, and I'm just going to go in here, create a folder and call this desk. And then I'm just going to drag these in. Again, I'm going to convert this to a mask low RGB. And I'm going to do, that's fine. So yeah, so what I did there was I just changed it so it doesn't have sRGB. So mask there. And then with the material, so probably I go to here and select this. I'm going to go create material instance. I'm going to call this desk. I'm just going to bring this up. Now, if you tick these buttons, you can search for what you want here, which is probably quicker, or you can drag them on. So you can either search for it or drag them on. It's entirely up to you guys how you do that. But I'm just going to search for them because I'm only recording one screen here. And desk. Yeah, so you can see now I've got a wooden camera. I can change this. So if I just go to my FBX, select the desk and click the teapot, you'll notice that now we have this. Okay, so there's two materials attached to it. That's not too much information. And the thing is with this now is I can drag and drop this on. Like so. Okay, this is way too extreme, too big. Just gonna make it a bit smaller. But you'll notice that the master material hasn't changed. And you can make these texture samples with just like white, the textures that you bring in. But you'll notice that this hasn't changed these, and all that I've changed is this. You can change this a little bit as well. Yeah. So it's quite useful. And then if we bring in, let me just bring in some more stuff. So let's bring these in. Let's create a new material. Create a new instance material for this desk handles, and it will tell you. I don't know why I hit 7. And I can change these again, and I can change. And what I can do is okay. Change the roughness amount, so 6, maybe, and you'll notice now that I've got this, and I can say with this thing, no, there we go. So then what I've done is I've made one material, and then I just instance from it. So right click instance. And like I said, if you update that material with a new functionality, it's going to update all the other materials as well. So it saves so much time if you just work off one material, maybe one material for props, maybe you've got an environment material. I actually do want to show that. Am I going to get examples? No, let me create. Let me make a copy of this. Duplicate. And the thing is, you might be able to just use this one anyway from a master environment. The only reason why I'm changing this is I'm just going to look in the content folder, start content, and go to okay, so I can show you on this one. So I'm just going to change what texture sample is being used for this. So let's find one that we need. Okay, good. Oh, for this demo, I'm just going to use this. So I'm going to drag and drop. What I did there was I just dragged and dropped it on the texture sample here. Same with this one, but I don't think we use PSM in these materials, so I'm just going to replace this one. Because what I want to show you is just a quick way. So say you wanted to tile this. So let me just disconnect all of this. So you can just see the albedo and the normal working. So say you wanted to tile this, but you wanted it to be a master material. Now the problem is you would not just normally use like a texture. Oh crap! What is it? Texture coordinate. And then you plug it into the UVs, like so. And then you could change the tiling of this. So, for example, say, let's go a bit extreme. Make sure it's plugged into the, you have to make sure it's plugged into all of them. You see how the normal map isn't tiling anymore. So we plug that into the normal map as well. And if we were using a PSM, you would plug it into the, but you can see that you've now tiled that 10 times, which is cool, but the problem is, you can't convert this into parameterize. So if I right click on this, I can't parameterize it. So it's a little bit of an issue, but there is a workaround. I'll just quickly show you. You've got to remember how you do this. Okay, again, I'm going to put the link in this. Forgot how you do this. Times text or UE4. Okay, yeah, I remember now. This is how you do it here. Okay, so if you want to, so this guy's base. Remember this thingy. So this allows you, like it says here, this allows you to be more specific inside of U and V, whereas this one, basically, you know that it's all tiling the same. So we're going to do the middle one. So if I press 1, hold 1, and left click, it's going to give me 2 parameters, 2 constants, and then we're going to convert these to parameters. So I'm going to put U tile, and the same with this one. I'm going to convert to parameter and call this V tile. And then we're going to append these 2 together. Now, if you hold A, it's not going to work. It's just going to give you an add. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this. Don't know why I do that. It's easier just for me to do that. I'm going to take the texture coordinate, which is going to be base. This is going to be base 1. Okay. And then that's created your tile. Now, if I select this and plug it into the UVs and the normal UVs, it's going to allow me to tile these. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to keep these all the same. As you can see here, it's probably broken, so you probably want to change this to 1. Same with this as well. Okay, so click apply. And I'm actually just going to quickly get rid of this PSM. And I'm just going to try and bring in one of theirs, which I think we just double check this. We can actually see. So red looks like roughness, green looks like AO, and blue looks like, I don't know what it looks like. Anyway, so we can actually use some of this. So let's bring in the roughness, bring in the AO, which is a green channel. And then I'm just going to create constant and plug that into the metallic. I'm just going to keep the metallic black because it's concrete, it's pebble stone. Now, I need to make sure that this section here is plugged into the UVs or else it won't tile properly. So click apply. And there we go. I'm going to start wrapping this video up in a minute. So if I right click, create a material instance and call this cobble, I can then say, drag that on there, wait for it to shaders compiling, bear with it. Okay, that's way too big. So what we're going to do is, firstly, we're going to bump this up to 0.7. And then what we're going to do is U and V and change this to say 4. You can see it's getting a little bit better. Change this to say 8, 8. Quite a big UV space. If I do this on something maybe a little bit different like this. You can see. We'll probably have to whack this up to say okay, never mind. But anyway, yeah, so you can see it's starting to tile, and we can still parameterize it, but we just have to do a little bit of functionality in there just to kind of add it. And say, for example, I wanted to create a new material instance and call this cobble pebble. Again, just gonna this is just moving the screens around a minute. So I'm just gonna drag and drop. One thing I just did notice is we forgot to parameterize the. If I just double click on here. Swap these things back around, and you'll notice if I select, say, this box here, I can then go if I change the tiling again, you'll notice, yeah. Okay, the only other thing that I didn't show would be a glow control. So if I quickly make that now, so if I select 1, hold 1 and left click, and then select M, left click, it's going to give me a multiply. Now, at the moment, this is not going to multiply on anything because we don't have the black and white image that tells me that there needs to be glow. Hang on, I can make one quickly. I'm going to create an alpha channel, and I'm going to select here. Okay, I'm going to save this back out as a 32-bit because it's now got an alpha channel. And you'll notice as well, if I just close this down a minute, cancel, minimize this. If I go to my textures now, I can just re-import that one in. So re-import. And it will come in with the correct, the new version of it, which is brilliant. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I just need to drag that in. No, it's already in. What am I on about? I'm just going to drag the alpha here into this slot. And then again, I'm going to create another multiplier. I'm going to create a 3-vector constant. I'm just going to connect these together. I'm going to plug this into the emissive color. Now, and click apply. Now, off the bat, this isn't going to be much. This isn't going to show up because we've got it turned off and it's set to black. I'm just going to comment this and put this below. But if I go into one of the materials, say the camera, it's still not going to work. And do you know why? We need to convert these to parameters. So I'm going to put this as glow color, and I'm going to give this group glow control, emissive control, and I'm going to convert this to a parameter as well. I'm going to convert all this glow amount. I don't think it's got that right. There we go. Click apply. And then if we just go to the materials and go to the camera one, especially, you'll see that we've now got this glow control. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to make this so it sits underneath here, but it's quite a simple fix. So I click here. It's still not going to show anything because we've still it's dark. So say we pick this color. And we change the glow amount to say 5, you'll notice now you have the glow. So that's it really for what I want to go through in this video. It's a little bit longer than normal, it's like 42 minutes, but kind of needs to be. So yeah, so in the next video, I think I had planned to look at lighting. So in the next video, we're going to have a look at lighting and kind of how to set up some atmospheric effects as well for that. And yeah, I'm going to put this on screen. So thank you. Oh, we did have a new patron, and in this video, I forgot to put it in. So I am so sorry. Let me just find his name and name him personally because he did subscribe. Patreon. But yeah, so thank you for the support for the patrons. It does really help. It pay out software license and that sort of stuff. So yeah. So we've got a new patron, and his name is, drumroll, Terence Tolman. So thank you very much for supporting us on the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.